Talk about stressful. We don't have time for this.
And then I heard him get in the shower, and all he kept saying was, ho, ho, ho. No. Ho, ho, ho. My widow needs her money. She's been trying to get this payoff for over 4 weeks. We're 6 weeks in now on a 10-day close.
Sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I just thank my lucky stars that you're on my side.
She sends me this message, and she's like, I don't know what happened, but I just got the payoff letter. We're closing tomorrow morning. Let's get done.
Wow, you are a savage, dude.
We have this, what they call the dividing line in Kansas City. They would put the magic marker right down Troost, and they would never pull previous sales from the western side of Troost.
Here's the other problem, though, that I see. If we go too far east of Troost with higher priced homes, now we're pushing out the mom that's been there in her paid off home, but her taxes went up so much because the value has gone up. Now where does she go? I am so proud of myself. I'm so excited. I'm terrified all at the same time. And I was like, well, if I'm not gonna do it in front of these guys who work here, who see women and whatever all the time, but
all
like,
the jiggly bits.
all the jiggly bits, I'm so excited.
Welcome to the Moxie and Jana Show.
I mean, we are spilling some real tea up in her, okay?
So we have aptly named our little show, Spilling Real Tea with Jana and Moxie.
Get it? Tune in and listen to us share all our crazy, wildly unbelievable crap that we see, do, and navigate in the insane world of real estate.
And we're talking everything.
We got it all, y'all.
Straight out of KC, and we spilling it.
Hey, Moxie.
Hi, Jana.
I love your background.
Do you like that? Do you like all that?
We both have new backgrounds.
Look at us. And we didn't even plan that. Like, I didn't know you were going to have a new background.
No, me.
Girl, I got this painted. I got Mr. Moneybags, I got Sold with Real Moxie.
I love it.
I don't know if I'm doing that backwards. I don't know.
No, it's perfect. You're right. You're good.
I love it.
I love
I'm
it.
excited. Yeah. My girlfriend, Corby, did it. She's awesome. So if you need a mural painted, Corby, be your girl. Okay.
Duly noted. Duly
Yeah.
noted. Hey, do you want to start with your story time on your client appreciation party this weekend?
Yes.
Because I actually saw Kelsey at a closing this morning, and I asked her, I was like, hey, how did it go on Saturday? And she's like, oh my God, it was amazing. Well, other than that one thing. And I was like, the one thing? So hopefully you'll share that with us too. That was kind of entertaining.
Oh my gosh, that one thing. Oh my gosh. Talk about stressful.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Sweating bullets.
Oh girl, next level, because I was buying food. I'll tell the whole story because it was stressful.
Okay.
Like I have a Whoop. I don't know if anybody knows what a Whoop is, but it tells like, okay. So I have a Whoop on. It actually will tell you what your stress levels are.
Whoop.
It's exactly right. My
Whoop
therapist made me get it.
Okay.
And it tells you like your recovery from when you slept, by the way, I recovered 2% last night. Write that down. You're supposed to get 100. I got 2% of recovery and I had 12% sleep. What happened last night?
You need some gummies in your life.
I know I shut my eyes. I might. That is no joke. Okay, so anyways, this thing shows your stress level too. Let me tell you how stressed I was when I got that text message. So let me now tell the story. Okay, so we decided to do a client appreciation / coat drive. So we were going to combine the two for charity Rehope. It's a phenomenal charity. And we got so many coats. They're actually still in my office. There are so many of them. I can't wait to count them. I just haven't recovered yet from the excitement. So anyways.
All of it, yeah.
This was also revealed at the party. So I'm running around the morning before, and I had invited about 30 clients or so. I had invited a bunch more, but 30 said that they would come. You know, around Christmas, it's just flat out hard to get people to show up. Yeah. So I was expecting, 10, 15 maybe. Totally stoked about it because we decided we were going to have Santa here too, so that the little kids could get their little picture taken with Santa. So the party started at 2. I was out getting the last minute details, the last minute stuff, and then I got a text at 11:30 that said Santa doesn't feel well. He can't make it. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? What just happened?
No. No.
So
not
how'd
an
that
option.
go?
Get up your ass, put your suit on, brush the beard, get in there.
He didn't. So I reached out to all of my partners that were coming, the business partners that were coming, the sponsors, people in my life. And girl, let me tell you, they got on the dang horn and they just made it happen. One of them's like, we're sitting here brainstorming. We're trying to figure it out. One girl's like, I've texted 17 people. One guy's like, oh my gosh, I just called four or five people. And I'm like, I don't even need Santa to look like Santa. I have the full outfit. I just need a person that's willing to go ho, ho, ho. So
I need a warm body that will say ho, ho, ho.
last minute on a Saturday during the holiday season for 3 hours. Okay. Like, no way this is happening. So at the end, I was just going to do Santa because I didn't really know what else to do. And everybody's like, have Kenny be Santa. Okay, have you seen his huge black beard? And it was so last minute. People were like, paint his beard. With what time? With what material? Yeah. We don't have time for this. So anyways, the lender, Molly Dean, her assistant, Kelsey, her boyfriend happened to be doing nothing that day. And Molly sends me a text that says, I know. Molly sent me a text that said, Sam just said he's going to jump in the shower and practice his ho, ho, ho. And I was like, yes. And let me just tell you, Jana, he ended up being the most perfect Santa.
Aww.
He's kind of skinny, so that, whatever, we can't have it all, but not skinny. He's not a skinny guy. He's not fat like
beggars
Santa.
can't be choosers.
Exactly. That was exactly my thought. So we have our party. We ended up having 26 clients come. One couple brought 20 jackets.
She said, yeah.
Yes. So we probably have, I would say, looking at this box, I bet you there's 60 jackets over there, which is unbelievable. We had 26 clients come that we got to hug on, love on, be with, story time. It was wonderful. And then we had 42 people all together between our sponsors and different people that came through that were more real estate related. So it was wonderful to see everybody. I can't wait to do it again next year. And it went off, honestly, without a hitch other than that minor detail.
Santa.
Yeah.
It was small, insignificant detail.
Yeah. And then, okay. So we had a whole boatload of prizes. Okay. So if you brought coats, you got as many tickets as you brought coats. So you brought one coat, you got one ticket. You brought 20, you got 20. And then you could buy extra tickets. And that money obviously went towards the charity. So one family, I think they might have bought $40 worth of tickets, which would have been 50 tickets. They had the kids, write stuff on it and put it in the little things. Girl, I think she ended up winning like 6 or 7 prizes. At the end, she's like, redo this one. I don't need any more. Redo this one. Raffle this one to somebody else. And then she texted me later. She's like, I know. She's like, I'm so sorry that I won so much. I was like, why? You donated. Like you did your part. That's what these gifts are here for. It turned out wonderful. It was such a good turnout. So thank you for everybody that came, that's currently listening. For those that didn't come and donated, we appreciate you there too. For those who couldn't make it, I totally understand. We're still friends. Just send me referrals, and there you go.
There you go. You can make up for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
By doing that. Okay. So what was the organization, though? It's Rehope. What is Rehope?
So Rehope is for trafficked women and domestic violence. So women that are in either sexually trafficked or I believe even work trafficking. I don't know the right terminology for that. And then domestic violence situations. So it's a really cool charity. My church also is very involved with it, but I have a friend that's very involved. She kind of works there. It's a wonderful organization. And I've been out there. They call it the farm. The facility was cool. They had all the things that you would possibly need. So yeah, it was really cool. It's a great organization. I'm super stoked to be even a portion of being able to give these jackets because, some of them are men. Obviously, we don't have men at that organization, so we're going to find a different charity to give the jackets that they don't use, but I'm pretty stoked to make sure they stay warm. They got hats and scarves and gloves coming too, so I'm pretty excited.
Oh, so sweet. I'm glad it was so much fun. It was pretty hilarious when Kelsey was sharing that story this morning during the closing. She's like, and then I heard him get in the shower, and all he kept saying was, ho, 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 no. Ho, ho, ho. No. Ho, ho, ho. No.
He was pretty dedicated to that dang ho, ho, ho.
Awesome.
Yeah.
He really was.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I'm getting it done.
Yeah. And at one point,
funny.
there was 4 kids standing in front of him, just like
Aw.
enamored by the fact that he was Santa and he had candy canes and like and I got a really cute picture of all of them just standing there looking at him. And, you know, I would say there were probably 10 or 11 kids that came through all together, which I think is pretty great. But we got some really cute pictures of some kids, and it was great. I had so much fun. I had such a great time.
And a great organization to boot. Yeah.
Such a great organization.
I love your story time. So I have a really interesting one. I have a seller client whose husband accidentally killed himself last January. He was a county sheriff. He was cleaning his weapon in his home, and he accidentally shot himself. Yes.
Whoa.
Awful. Awful.
Whoa.
Yeah. It was really unfortunate. But so they were kind of already separated, and she was living in Ohio. And so she actually had to come back and kind of, you know, go through the probate process and take care of his affairs and all of that kind of stuff. Anyway, so she's got this house that they've owned for a really long time. They owe very little on it. And she's like, I need to sell it. So they reached out to me, went over, met with them, all that stuff. She gives me all this information for the title company, like who the payoff, you know, should be ordered from, what she believes her loan balance is, you know, all of that stuff, right? We went on the market, and in less than 2 or 3 hours, I think we had like 6 offers or something like that.
Nice.
So it's super crazy. All of them were cash. All of them were quick closes. Like we were like, hell yeah, let's do this.
That's awesome.
Right? It was pretty awesome. And the one we ended up picking was quite a bit over our list price because he really, really wanted it.
Nice.
So we get into title, start doing all of that. And the title company, this payoff from Rushmore Servicing, which is a division of Mr. Cooper. She orders the payoff. They're giving her the big runaround. They won't talk to her. They say they need the owner's permission. She calls in with the owner. They had her verify a slew of information, and she's had communications with them previously. So anyway, whatever. A lot of information. They say they'll have the payoff letter to her in like less than 3 days, 72 hours, they said. Okay. 2.5 weeks later, after calling every single day, both of them, the title company and the seller, one takes a morning shift, the other one takes the afternoon shift. They are literally calling every day.
Wow.
They sit on hold for an hour. They talk to somebody new every time. Somebody tells them, it's already been sent. Or, no, we've already sent it 3 times. I can see the request in here. Do you want me to cancel it and start a new one? God, for the love of no. Please don't do that. Weeks go by. Weeks. We had a 10-day close. Okay. And it's been weeks. Weeks. So we're on week 4, and I am getting frustrated because she's stressed out. She needs to sell this house.
Yeah.
She wants to pay off the loan. She was on the verge of foreclosure. Like, it's been a whole thing. She wanted to get this wrapped up, and she actually was going to be making some money off of it too, like quite a bit of money. And so she wanted to get her house sold. We couldn't get a response from Rushmore Servicing. No one would talk to us. They were giving them the runaround. It was a freaking mess. So I kind of did something I have not done quite so publicly before. Like, it's been a long time since I've done something like this, but I went and posted a TikTok video calling them out and asking for the internet's help.
Oh.
In applying some pressure because this is ridiculous. My widow needs her money. You know, she's been trying to get this payoff for over 4 weeks. Like, we're 6 weeks in now on a 10-day close.
Yeah.
What the French? Okay. I posted that on like Tuesday. We were supposed to close on Friday. Thursday morning, I get a call from one of Molly's team members, Lindsay Clark, who's a good friend of mine. And she's like, Jan, I have a backroom trick I'm going to give you to get this information. I was like, spill it. Tell me. I need literally whatever you got.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Oh,
let's do
my
it.
gosh. I can't wait
She's
to hear
like,
this. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. What is it?
She goes, you're going to need to go on to LinkedIn and you're going to search for that company. And then you're going to pull down every single email address for every single person in that company.
Whoa.
And you send them an email.
Whoa.
She goes, send them a Jana email. And I was like,
we know what that means.
I think that's a compliment.
Oh yeah, it's a compliment. I'm jealous
like,
of Jana emails.
Send them a Jana email.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, okay. And she's like, no, I'm serious. Tell them everything, the whole story, maybe even put a link to your TikTok video in there.
Ooh.
I was like, okay, all right, good idea. I went in less than an hour and a half, I had 474 email addresses.
Oh my gosh.
For both Mr. Cooper and Rushmore Servicing. I emailed all 474 people at 11:30 in the morning. At 2 o'clock, I got a call from letting me know the payoff letter was in.
Okay, hang on. When you say you emailed 400 and how many?
74.
Okay, so you emailed 474 people. You don't mean you blind copy, carbon copy.
Hell
There was
no.
no BCC.
Mm-mm.
Everybody got this in their subject line as if this was sent directly to them with everybody else on it.
Yep.
Holy guacamole.
I did not get one reply, not one, which surprised me because you know how trigger happy these
interesting.
Office people are like, ooh, reply all. No reply.
That's very interesting. I wonder how they kept from anybody responding to you so quickly and then also internally got it done. They must have responded and then taken you out of the response maybe so that the email got sent to everybody that got it received. That is very interesting that there was zero response to you, but it still got fixed so quickly.
No response.
Wow, you are
Super
a
fast.
savage, dude. You're a freaking savage.
I am over. Dude, she was crying.
Yeah.
She was so upset.
No.
She's like, I don't understand why these people won't take my money.
Yeah, I just want to give you money.
I'm like, I hear you. I don't know either. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Oh, wow. Sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I just thank my lucky stars that you're on my side. True story. Because you are a savage, dude.
You like those emails, do you?
Oh my gosh, you are a savage. No, you did the right thing by your client. I mean, obviously.
I mean, they won't talk to me if I call. They've been talking to the title company. They've been talking to the seller. They've been talking to the seller's attorney, for crying out loud.
Unbelievable.
What's the problem? So here's the best part, not the best part, but here's the ending of it, right? So 2.5 hours, we get the payoff letter. And Peggy is like, she sends me this message and she's like, I don't know what happened, but I just got the payoff letter. We're closing tomorrow morning. Let's get this shit done. I was like, oh my God, hallelujah. She goes, but I have an interesting little tidbit of information for you about this payoff letter. And I was like, do tell. She goes, it is dated for 3.5 weeks ago.
Oh my God, they sat on it for that long. That's 25 days. That's 25 days.
Yeah.
Wow. So somebody dropped the ball big time.
Well, and the thing that kept running through my head was like, oh my God, do we have to order another one?
Yeah.
Please tell me they put the per diem on there.
Yeah, no joke. Oh my gosh.
She's like, we're good. We're good. We have what we need. Let's close this. Next morning we closed and everything was fine. Done.
Unbelievable.
But it took sending an email to 474 people in both companies to get somewhere, which is ridiculous. It was absolutely unnecessary. But it worked.
I would give anything to understand how that was received, not replied to, but immediately taken care of internally. I would give anything. If anybody knows anybody that works at those two places and you got that email, we will not shout you out, but I would love to know. I mean, I'm just thinking in the logistics of that because they had to have gotten that email. And every boss, you're not just running around to everybody. You have to deal with 470 whatever people. How did they logistically deal with that and get it taken care of so quickly with no response to you? I am mesmerized by that.
I bet you're right. Somebody probably took me off, replied all, and said, do not respond to this email.
Undoubtedly.
If you have any questions, see this person and this person or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wow. Gosh, you are.
2.5 hours.
That's a crazy story. That's a crazy ending, a beautiful ending. It shows your tenacity and your hard work. It also shows your ability to be creative and not care. You're like, okay, that sounds like a plan, ? And it turned out to be a great plan. So kudos to you for not caring. Hang on, wait. Did you add your TikTok link to the email?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You did? Oh,
yes.
You are next level. You are next level. I can't even.
Well, and I had called my seller ahead of that. We got really close through this process, and she's such a super sweet lady. But I had called her, and I was like, listen, I'm going to tell you everything that I can possibly think of to get this taken care of. I need you to give me permission on some of these. So just tell me what you're comfortable with, what you're not comfortable with. She goes, girl, do what you want. She's like, if you think it'll work, do it. And I was like, okay. So after I did the video and I posted it on TikTok, I actually sent it to her. And I was like, I hope this is okay. Let me know if there's anything you want me to take out, because I did tell her story, to some of it, not all of it, but I did tell it. And then when it came down and I called her before I sent the email, I was like, this is what I'm doing. I just, again, want to make sure you're comfortable with it. She's like, do it.
Yeah.
I was like, sweet. So,
wow.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
Anyway, so I had her permission was kind of my point with all of that.
I love it.
To share that.
I love it.
Info.
Shout out to Lindsay Clark.
Right?
Well, that's not her name anymore. She married that really cool guy.
He's such a stud.
Van something. I know.
Van Steenberg.
Yes.
That needs to be said differently. It was Lindsay von Steenberg.
Lindsay von Steenberg. Okay, whatever. I don't know where that last name comes from, but it's not Lindsay Clark.
She is freaking, I will tell you, she's helped me out with little stuff like that. That's not little, but in the past, she'll see something I post on TikTok or Instagram and call me and go, hey, have you thought about doing this? I'm like, that's actually a really good idea. Yeah, I'll do that right now.
Oh, that's cool. You maybe don't know why I have such an affinity for her. I absolutely adore her. I think it was the first deal that I ever did in my career, which we've talked about. I walked in to give the title company the earnest money deposit on the behalf of the buyer. And Lindsay was actually working for...
Which don't do that anymore.
No, I don't do that anymore. This is my first deal. I was all sorts of excited.
I know.
Lindsay was actually working at Chicago Title at the time. And we're close to the same age. And I walked in and she was like, so, how's it going? And I was like, I don't have a freaking clue what I'm doing. Can you help me figure out what I'm doing? And she was like, why don't you meet my staff? And so she introduced me to Kelsey Toole.
Meet the people.
Yeah, pretty much. She introduced me to Kelly Jones, who's now Kelly Schutte. And Kelly's been my title girl since then because she plays by the rules. She doesn't let people walk all over her. And she also is not fraudulent, which I think is a big thing. I don't know why other agents think it's okay to be fraudulent, and Kelsey Toole has been the sales rep I don't really know what she is for Missouri and Kansas. Now she's just Missouri, but she actually helped me get on this app for Chicago Title that helps me run all sorts of numbers for buyers and sellers. So Lindsay saved the day that day. Instead of being scared of me asking can you help me? She was like, girl, let's go. And so I love Lindsay. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Lindsay.
She's awesome. I used to be on her mom's team. Actually, her mom and her aunt's team.
Oh, I love her mom.
Way long time ago.
Yeah.
Yes, Robin's
good
one
people.
Of my favorite
yeah,
people.
She's cool. I like her. We've met for lunch a couple of times, and she is just flat out good human. I like her a lot.
And you know what's hilarious? She is spicy as fuck.
Yeah, she is.
And I love it.
Oh, yeah.
Because you just look at her and you're like, oh, she's such a sweet mom.
She's going to get
grandma. Aw. And then you start talking to her and you're like, shut the fuck up. I love you.
I like you. She's good people.
Apple doesn't fall far from that tree.
True story. I'm sure if we really got to know her son, we would be the same about her son too. I'm sure.
Maybe. I don't know. Us girls got to stick together.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Well, in other news, our topic of the day today is a good one. I like it. It's things we need to talk about for sure. Moxie's a little scared. A little scared.
Okay, I want to preface this whole thing with some of this is going to be information that you can find online. Some of it is going to be opinion. We're not going to necessarily source our stuff because a lot of it is going to be things that we've heard. We're not going on, to court with these things saying, no, this is hearsay. So I just want to preface this with just do your own research, okay, folks, because there are going to be some opinions. But the other part of this is there's a chance I talk very passionately about this because this is something I hold very near and dear to my heart. So get ready. Are you ready?
Jesus.
Okay, Jana.
Okay.
Start us.
I'm curious to see how this plays out with us because we are typically on very different ends of the spectrum on a lot of things, although I don't think this is one of them. And I do think we have some interesting, just as we were kind of talking about it, just walking through the topic, I'm really excited about it. So without further ado, what we're going to be talking about today is redlining, sort of. We're going to be talking about the east and west side of Troost, redlining in Kansas City, and how that's actually impacting appraisals in a good
and
way.
blockbusting.
And blockbusting. Yes, we're going to talk about that too. Blockbusting leading to redlining. So
Okay, this is a lot to unpack.
there's a lot going on.
There is.
What I kind of brought up was in the last few years, we have this what they call the dividing line in Kansas City that for a long time, we'll get into how we got there. For a long time, east of Troost has always been a lower priced area of town than west of Troost. Literally a house 1 block east of Troost would sell for $150,000 to $200,000 or more less than the exact same house 1 block west of Troost.
Yep.
And I've noticed in the last couple of years anyway that we do have some activist appraisers in our area, which I sometimes do not love, but in this case very much love. Previously, when they do these appraisals, they would put the magic marker right down Troost, and they would never pull previous sales from the western side of Troost. They would only stick to the eastern side of Troost.
Or vice versa.
Even though there were comps.
Or vice versa.
Or vice versa.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And there were comps there to support that property, right? In the like last couple of years or whatever, I've started to see them cross that line. And it makes me so happy because the values in these neighborhoods are being both positively and negatively impacted by that.
Yeah.
But it needed to happen. Mm-hmm. It needed to happen for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm curious what your thoughts are on this whole thing.
The interesting thing is, and I don't know if this is still around, if anybody is listening to it and it is, please comment or get with me and let me know for sure. But there was something called the East of Troost Coalition. And they were a group of, I believe they were volunteer. They were just a group of people that wanted to push the agenda forward to move the needle east of Troost. So instead of a house being $30,000 just because it was east of Troost, let's go ahead and make it realistic. Let's move it up to its normal. Let's match it to west of Troost, 120,000 or whatever the number may be. So this group actually put together a gigantic organization that they put us, you had to buy tickets. You met at this little charter school, and they then put you on these huge charter buses, and they drove you around the inner city on the east side of Troost. And they took you to Habitat for Humanity houses. They took you to some lower scale neighborhoods that had some potential growth opportunities. And you could see the reason they were doing that. And I say they were taking us agents down there so that we as Eastern Jackson County or Johnson County, Kansas, or north of the river agents who may not go to the urban core often would potentially open our eyes to say, oh, okay, so, college and 37th really isn't that bad as long as we're focusing on that area. So I went to a lot of different events with that coalition, and I went on that bus tour. It was really cool to see. And it was cool to be able to sit there with agents. Oh, and they ended the night at 18th and Vine at this jazz bar that was,
love it.
Yeah, it was free food. I think we got like 2 drink tickets or something. And just to give us, let's also learn what 18th and Vine is. So it was really cool to see that happen. And so I personally have purchased a home 1 block west of Troost. And I purchased it for $34,000. It was $34,000 or $37,000. I put way too much money into it and ended up selling it for $137,000, I believe. And it's only because I had the knowledge that there is an option right here, 1 block west of Troost, but that exact same property to the east of Troost, still to this day. So that was when I met my husband. So this was 6 years ago. And it was 6 years ago in December that this took place. So to this day, if you go back to that house, it's now worth more. If you go 1 block east of Troost, it's still a $30,000 house. It blows my mind that even in 6 years, with all the coalitions, with all of the people coming together, that we still haven't really moved the needle all that much. So to me, the fact that we're hearing appraisers now say, you know what, we're gonna comp this fairly, makes me pretty excited about life, truthfully, because not only that, but you also have the lesser demographic on purpose. It's almost like they're holding these people down. It blows my mind. It blows my mind because they also had what it's called food desert Is that what it's called? So they had a
They had
food
a massive
desert.
food desert. Still do.
Massive.
In quite a few of those areas.
They still do. And now they moved the bus stop for the Walmart on Blue Ridge, but it's okay. The bus stop is still close enough to Walmart. I went to that, I think it's a Sunfresh there. I went to that groundbreaking was 5-6 years ago. And the mayor was there and, they were doing this whole political thing with a cutting of the ribbon. And I was a little confused as to what was happening. And so I asked someone, I was like, why is this such a big deal? And they said, where can you go buy groceries right around here? Oh, well, Dollar General. Oh, because they have quality food. No offense, Dollar General. But they inherently, you go in Dollar General and you see sugar or carbs. And that's pretty much the extent.
Lots of sugar.
Lots of sugar, lots of carbs, lots of low budget stuff, which I know a lot of people need. But on the turn of that, there was nowhere for people to go. And for the people that were in that urban core that didn't have cars, that relied on public transportation, and that Walmart hadn't quite been where it was yet maybe, but the Walmart was the only thing that they could do. So they got to ride the bus all the way to Blue Ridge and then get their groceries, carry as many groceries as you can to ride the bus home and then walk it home. So it's been interesting to watch. And I have no idea, Jana, why. I've been in 7.5 years now into real estate. I have no idea why the urban core has been such a big deal for me, because I will go and frolic around.
Disenfranchised people. It's inequity.
Yeah.
I feel like
it is.
You get pulled to that. I feel like most people get pulled to that. They just don't do anything about it, and you do.
Yeah. And here's the other problem, though, that I see. If we go too far east of Truce with higher priced homes, now we're pushing out the mom that's been there in her paid off home, but her taxes went up so much because the value has gone up that now she can't afford to even live there. Now where does she go? So there's a fine line there of not going too far east as to not push people who have been there forever out of their homes, because that's what happens.
Yeah. I mean, gentrification is real. That's just displacement, period. But it also does create that issue of gentrification as well, especially when those higher prices start moving in. And like you said, taxes go up. I've had lots of sellers call who cannot afford their new tax bill on their Social Security or whatever, pension, whatever they're working with.
Yep.
And that is literally that, and their utilities and their homeowners insurance. That's literally all they have to pay.
And that's disgusting.
And they still can't afford it because it's gone up so much.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are some unintended consequences, essentially. But I will say this. It's a long-term issue that this city and metro area, has been contending with for decades. I mean, it was started by a fairly large local real estate mogul that came in and started doing that blockbusting, scaring people
70s,
into
right?
leaving in the 60s.
So tell us what he was doing, because I don't think everybody knows what redlining blockbusting is.
So blockbusting, essentially, this gentleman and his team of agents, because they were actually real estate agents, were going into these neighborhoods and scaring people into thinking that there was a lowbrow, low-quality crowd moving into their neighborhood, and they better sell their house to them, usually, now, so that they can preserve their value and get their money back out of their house and then move them out into some suburb.
And they did it.
And they did it. And they did it a lot. A lot. So much so that we have a huge redlining exhibit at the Black History Museum now, actually. So the blockbusting, they were going in, they were scaring people, they were getting them to sell their homes, oftentimes to them, which is a completely different issue. But then they would turn around and rent these homes out to the people that basically just moved out. Yeah. But they would jack up the rent, right? And so that started the redlining, because they were doing that in specific neighborhoods that they felt were going to increase in value in a very short period of time. So they went in and scared people to get them to move out. That was a long freaking time ago. This is a long-term issue. And I honestly don't think fixing the value problem is the answer. I think there's definitely a much larger concerted effort in the urban core now, with opportunity zones and incentives, and they're even doing some tax relief programs now for sellers or for owners who can't afford to pay the newly heavily increased taxes in that area, in that county. But it's such a big issue. It's such a huge issue.
I know.
And it's multifaceted.
It's so multifaceted. And unfortunately, there's no, like, here's the solution. That's the worst part about it.
There's no magic button for sure.
So I have a lot of out-of-state investors. I don't understand quite why I have so many investors, but from day one of being in real estate, they just started pouring in. So I learned a boatload, but I have a lot of out-of-state investors. They're from all over the country. And it's been interesting having to explain, we want to be politically correct. We don't want to guide in a way that's now us either redlining or blockbusting, but they also need to understand when they look at a house and they say, hey, this is only 30,000 within a 3-block radius, there's one selling for 350. I want to put an offer. I have to now explain to them, well, here's the problem. Here's the dividing line. And they don't understand it. They do not understand it. They're like, well, is that a major highway? No, it's just a street. It's just a road.
It's just a regular old street.
It's just a street. I've had different investors come to Kansas City and sit in my car, and I take them on the tour of, all of Kansas City, depending on what they want to look at. But it's interesting to say, this is the lesser part of town. And once we blink and go just a little bit further west, it's going to be a completely different situation. They say how quickly it changes is not something that majority of them see in their specific cities. And I think it's interesting.
I was just going to mention that, yeah.
Yeah, and I just think it's interesting that you could have someone almost in your backyard here who is going to have a house for $60,000 and yours is going to be worth $250,000. That to me is strange. And that to me is something that my investors have had to learn. And thank goodness they have me because, Jana, I had one buy a house and it was east of Truce. It was actually on Linwood, east of 71. So it was very far east and they got completely duped. They spent $60,000. They were told, another agent helped them. They were told that they could renovate it and sell it for $120,000. And the foundation was crumbling. I mean, crumbling. The home was falling on one side. I was like, guys, we have to be lucky to sell this for $20,000. They were like, you're kidding me. We ended up getting it sold for, I think, $18,000.
Holy shit.
And I think it was my third contract that I had with that house specifically. Everybody else had backed out. They're like, this is too much. This is too big. There's too much going on here. I ended up getting a cash offer for $18,000 and the sellers, they were devastated, but they were out of the town and they got duped. So luckily agents like you and I actually pay attention, actually know what the heck's going on and what block is not the block. That's, I'll sell a house anywhere. Like I've told you before, I've sold 3 $7,000 houses. I don't care. But if you're getting duped and being told buy this for $60,000, renovate it, sell it for $120,000, we have a major problem if people aren't understanding what this actually looks like. So comping in the inner city is tough too. It's very tough.
Yes, very, very tough. I do think, just to clarify, from my perspective, I'm not having the conversation with my investor clients about what is a good neighborhood and what isn't a good neighborhood.
Me neither.
Or whatever.
That is not my deal.
But what I am doing is I will give them the information for what redlining in Kansas City has looked like in the past, just so that they can formulate their own opinion about why they think something is cheaper, because that's not my place. Yeah. What I can do, though, and what I have had lots of conversations with both just traditional buyers coming into the area as well as my investor group as well, is these neighborhoods in Kansas City, and I think it's true within the entire metro area, in my opinion, you can go, one house is going to be a dilapidated structure that probably is uninhabitable, sitting right next to a $400,000 house, which then leads to a $1.2 million house. Most people have never seen that before. They've really never seen that interspersed community like that. Yeah. And so for them, they're like, well, where's the good part of town? I was like, you know what? Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
I'm not answering that.
What you think.
What you think is good.
Here's what I do say. May not be what I think is good. And what I think is good may not be what you think is good. So I don't think my opinion is a fair assessment. Right. However, I can give you police crime statistics. I can give you the sex offender registry. I can give you crime maps. I can give you great, school information. I can give you all these things. You can decide that on your own.
Yeah.
They still ask and they still want us to tell them, but we can't do that.
No.
That's just not what we do.
We can't.
But what we can do is exactly what you shared earlier. We can show them, here is the issues with this particular home. Here's what this particular home has sold for in the last 6 months, year, 2 years, whatever's needed to show that history. And this is what other homes have sold, some trajectory showing them how things have sold for the last 6 months to a year. And they have to come up with whether or not they think it's a good deal based on that on their own.
Yeah. And that's honestly, Jana, that's one of the hardest parts when you have an out-of-state investor.
It's hard.
The two things I
Yes.
always get, well, what's a good neighborhood and what could it sell for in the future? I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to tell you what a good neighborhood is because that's not my jam. If you may think a completely different thing than me. So I literally will never tell you. Same with school district with a normal home buyer. I'm not going to tell you what a good school district is. First off, I ain't got no children, girl. You do your own thing, okay? So I will never tell them whether or not I think a neighborhood is good. I will tell them, obviously, pull comps, which surprise them. I think the comps, the way that I do them, I hope that when I do them and they're real and they're honest, and then potentially they go to somebody else. I've had somebody go to somebody else and they're like, well, they said that I could actually get, so maybe I told them they could get 70 out of it, right? Renovated. Well, this person told me I could get 150. You need to do you, boo. And then they come back to me and they're like, I can't get 150. The best I can do is 75. I'm like, yeah, I know. I was conservative. So I try to be as honest as possible. And thank goodness I learned how to comp the inner city because it matters. It really matters. How to comp it is so vital. And these investors that are just out here making bad choices because somebody's fast talking and I'm out here just slinging houses, slinging to the next one. I heard that on my voicemail the other day. I'm out here just slinging houses. Okay, I can't wait for you to represent me. But I just get so frustrated with me being as honest as I am. Sometimes it deters people and I just try to make sure my people aren't getting screwed because I'm the one on the hook if they do.
Right.
So
one thing that I found works really well, especially if you've never worked with the appraiser that's coming to, do the appraisal on your listing before, I actually put together a booklet. And I've had one guy tell me, he goes, I was a little offended when you handed me this, but frankly, it was very educational and I appreciated it. And I was like, really? Okay. What about it did you like? He's like, it's a little booklet and it talks about what the high level history of redlining in Kansas City, especially if I'm in those neighborhoods. And it talks about if you were to only use the properties east of Truce to arrive at a value for this house, this is the number you're going to get. If you only use the western side of Truce, this is the number you're going to get. If you blended those and pulled the exact same floor plans with the exact same number of bedrooms and bathrooms as close as possible with some minor adjustments for condition or whatever, this is the number we should be at. And this is why we made the offer, why we accepted the offer that we did. I've had a couple of them come back and tell me, I didn't really even think about it. We have some natural boundaries that we pay attention to, but I like your argument. And, we've actually gotten pretty good appraisals out of doing stuff like that. Now, some appraisers do not love that.
Right.
They do not want to be told anything remotely related to what comps or anything for sure. Yeah. But more often than not, it ends up helping. But I can't wait for that day when this becomes less of an issue. But I do think that it's going to take really strong people like you, like me, like appraisers, the activist appraisers that are getting involved in their community and really paying attention and having the conversation and being open and upfront about it. It takes having the right kind of lenders that are understanding, that they look at the actual data, that they believe and trust the data that they're being given by the appraiser. It's a community affair to make sure that all these things happen the way they're supposed to. And it's no small feat.
And then there's Beacon Hill.
Oh my gosh.
Which will just throw you right for a loop, girl.
One of my agents is trying to buy an investment property in Beacon Hill. It's a mid-mod. It's been on the market for freaking forever. And it is 2-bedroom, 1-bath ranch, mid-mod in Beacon Hill, next to brand new construction, $1.3 million, 3-story homes with brand new, beautiful landscaping and driveways and all this alleys and shit. And it's just teeny tiny mid-mod. And she's like, what do I do? And I was like, well, you're going to have to go outside the area to pull any comps because it's a specific mid-mod floor plan that's kind of special. So it needs to be checked anyway. But I was like, you're going to have a real rough time. Here are 3 appraisers that I work with a lot. And I would just call all 3 of them, give them the address and say, can you give me a guidepost on where you would be on this? Because
that's a struggle.
Beacon Hill is rough.
Yeah.
Rough.
Oh, man.
To figure out.
Man, it's tough. But, man, those views of downtown from Beacon Hill. Oh, golly. It's like the $1 million houses in Briarcliff with those views just speaking to my heart, man. And I love the Briarcliff ones because they're over the river. And so, I love it. I just love downtown, though.
You get the river view, too. And you get a really good kind of far away skyline, too. Kind of like that. A little far away skyline, too, with the river in front.
Yeah.
So pretty.
Yeah.
So pretty.
So cool.
I know. There are some really great neighborhoods nestled in the Kansas City area.
Yeah.
Quality Hill being another one.
Yeah, I lived in
the Volker neighborhood. Love.
I lived in Quality Hill, really close to Quality Hill. I lived in the Bella Reeve property, which is owned by Mac Properties. I think I've talked about Mac Properties here before. They're the ones that buy the whole entire block and renovate and kind of. Anyways, it was spectacular. It was at 35th and Gillum. Oh, I loved living there. I loved it.
Awesome.
Costco was my backyard, and there was nowhere to grocery shop, so I'd have to go to Westport. But that worked out fine for me, so I didn't really care. It was wonderful. And then I bought a house in Waldo, thinking so. It was at 84th and Ward Parkway when I bought that little house, and so I moved from Midtown where there's sirens and dogs barking and car horns and people yelling and. I moved to Waldo and I thought, it'll be fine. It's Waldo. It's only 7 minutes from the plaza. Girl, I might as well have moved to the middle of BFE. The amount of noise that I lost, I love the noise of the city. I love it. I can just go right to sleep. If we're talking crickets and howling dogs, I'm ready for someone to come out with a knife. And that's what I live with now is crickets and howling dogs. And I'm just waiting for.
I was going to say.
I know. That's where I live.
I think we've talked about this. Like, I don't live in the urban part of the city. I'm in Shawnee, but, and I'm in a subdivision. But Bryant and I talk about this a lot because I'm like, I want to opt into the craziness. I want to come into town for a defined period of time and enjoy that.
Yeah.
But then I really would like to be way the fuck out of there.
No.
On acreage where all I hear are crickets and the wind.
No, because then I'm just waiting for him to jump out of the bushes and kill me, okay, with a knife. And literally, and then in my head, this is how it would sound. I know. That's what's going to happen. Anyways, there's blockbusting and redlining. And again, these are a lot of our opinions. So look up your own facts. Okay.
And just to wrap that up a little bit too, if you are someone who's thinking about buying or selling in that area that we're talking about in the urban core, definitely talk to a few people, definitely get lots of opinions and work with someone you feel like represents your best interests and that you trust the information that you're being given.
Yeah. And if they tell you your house is worth $250,000 and you know darn well it's not, but the pipe dream that they're feeding you just to get the listing, nobody wants to go down that route.
Sounds so good.
Yeah. Nobody wants to go down that route. Let's get realistic and not, because that's a heartache on you. That's not a fun thing for you as the seller at all. So anyways, don't let them lie to you. Don't let them lie to you, pumpkin.
Exactly. Okay. Time for Off the Record, Moxie.
Okay.
Why were you late today?
I was late today. Can I tell you why I was late today?
I was sitting here all by my lonesome staring at the black screen.
I know. Where is Moxie?
Do tell.
Where is Moxie? Here she is. Okay, so we're leaving for Cabo on Friday. So it's Tuesday. And we're leaving into 3 days. And I did something crazy today, Jana. I did something crazy. And I was so excited. And
Did you go get everything waxed? Is that what we're talking about?
No, that's old news.
That's an every month thing.
Yeah, that's old news. I went and bought a bikini. I went and bought
Holy mother of pearl.
2 bikinis. I am going to be on the beach in Cabo in a bikini. Can I tell you? Never in my adult life, and when I say adult, I mean after the age of 11.
Adult body.
Yeah. Never have I worn a bikini. Never have I even considered. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And the lady, she was like, you know, these stretch marks, those are just a badge of honor. I was like, girl, if they meant because I had a child, you were right, but they're not. So it's just because I was a chub. But I don't care. I don't mind the stretch marks. It's all the rest of the stuff. Girl, I bought 2 swimsuits. I am so proud of myself. I'm so excited. I'm terrified all at the same time. I could not believe that I was running around a swimsuit store in a 2-piece in like essentially bra and underwear. It felt weird because then there were guys and I was like, well, if I'm not going to do it in front of these guys who work here, who see women in bikinis or whatever all the time, I'm not going to do it. So I was late because I was buying bikinis, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm so excited. I'm terrified. Oh, I'm so scared. Oh, I'm so scared. But I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of myself, and I can't wait to do it.
So are we talking like tube top situation? Or we got like straps?
One of them, they're actually both tube top, but they both also have straps that I can, you know, take on and off.
Okay.
And then full on bikini bottoms. They're you know, they're a little bit higher, not like up to here high or anything, but the bottoms are a little bit higher. I don't have the bottom side for that. Covers my tushy like a normal human should. Go cover your butt cheek. But yeah, no, full on 2-piece real, because forever all I would wear was tankinis. That's it. So I would have the full tank, and then I would have the skirt, you know, like I'm 75 and I'm not. And so that's all I've ever worn, ever in my whole entire life. And so the fact that I got full on 2-piece, tummy showing, booty out, boobies out, not really out, everything's covered. But
all the jiggly bits.
All the jiggly bits. I'm so excited. I know for most people listening to this, they're like, what? She went and got bathing suits? No, for the first time in my adult life.
All the ladies understand. All the ladies get it.
And let me just tell you, I'm going to shout out straight up to this, okay? Swim Things in Blue Springs needs a gold ribbon for how good they are. When I went there in May, it was the first 1-piece that I had ever worn in my life. And those girls, she was like, okay, you're going to not like this swimsuit, but I need you to go try it on. And I was like, there's never going to, she's like, just shut up and go try it on. And so I did. And that's the one I bought. Today, the woman was so incredibly nice. She was so involved. She was so honest. And she was so kind with her words. Because, you know, there's parts you could be like, girl, you look fat in that, right? Like, oh, that one pinches you a little too much. She was so perfectly eloquent with her words. If you're looking for a swimsuit and you want someone to care and you want someone to be kind and patient and creative, she picked out the bathing suit I ended up getting. Like 2 of them, actually, both of them. She literally picked them both out for me. And so Swim Things, Blue Springs, 40 Highway, I'm giving a gigantic shout out to those people because I don't know anything about their pools. I don't know anything about their hot tubs, but I know about their bathing suit and I know about their customer service. If anybody's looking for a bathing suit, go there because they will change. I left there on cloud 9. Most people leave bathing suit shopping and they're like, oh. I left there on cloud 9 and it was absolutely spectacular.
That's awesome.
So that's why I was late today. Sorry, not sorry, because I got 2 bathing suits and I can intertwine them. So really I got 3 bathing suits, but I spent a boatload of money. Just don't took any.
Oh, shit.
It's expensive.
Well, let's just say this. By the time this episode airs,
he will already have seen me.
It will have already cleared the bank account.
Yes.
He would have already seen you. Yes. He would have already have enjoyed everything.
Yes.
He'll probably, you know,
not
whatever.
Need to know how much I spent. It's fine. Don't look at the bank account, Johnson. It's fine. So, anyways, that is my very exciting story. I hope everyone that is even considering buying any sort of a bathing suit
in December
has the
I'm joking
in December or coming up to the summer, whatever. I hope anybody that does that has the experience that I was able to have today because it really matters when you have a team. There was 2 women that were helping me. It really matters when you have a team around you that's going to be there supporting you and helping you and encouraging you. And at one point, I wasn't discouraged at one point. I just said, because I don't have a butt. And so, you get droopy butt and it looks like you're wearing a diaper and you can't have that.
Looks like you're
and so
squeezing your
at
butt
one point
cheeks
I was
together
like,
when you're really not.
yeah. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Yeah. And so at one point I was like, what do we do about the fact that I don't have a butt? She looks at me dead in the eyes and she goes, you keep a good attitude and you don't get discouraged and you go try on the next one. And I was like, holy guacamole, lady. Like, you have helped some women buy bathing suits. So anyways, that's my soapbox for the day.
I love it.
That's my off the record. That means everything to me. It was so cool. So there you go.
That's awesome. So what are you looking forward to in Cabo besides wearing the swimsuits and being on the beach, which duh, but beyond that, you go to Cabo every year, yeah?
Twice a year, yeah.
Twice a year?
Twice a year. Yeah, this will be our second time this year. Yeah, we love it. I could give you the emotional reason why we love it, or I could just stick with the fun stuff that I'm excited about. It's up to you.
Do both.
Okay, it's just the facts of life, okay? We're not shying away from real things here, so it just is what it is. I got pregnant in August of 2018. We got married in November, and when we got married, we decided to go ahead and plan a vacation for February 2019, and we knew that was going to be our honeymoon, so late honeymoon, and then our baby moon. So we were going to dual that vacation. So we had him stillborn in January, early part of January 2019, but we still had that vacation. And so we both were like, what do we do? How do you go on vacation? And everyone in our whole lives was like, go on the vacation. Go take some time for yourself. And it was definitely a God wink. Like, I'm going to cry. It was definitely a God wink of like, he knew what was already in place for us in that time. And for him to give us something to be able to look forward to. It was a 5-day vacation and it was just he and I, and we just fell in love with that place. And it's why we want to share it with our family as often as we do. We just absolutely fell in love with that place and we felt so connected to our son there. And so it really has just been we love it. We love everything about Cabo. The people are so warm, but it reminds us every year, it just helps us remember every year, and you need that memory. Yeah. You need to be able to remember that kind of stuff. And so Cabo has our heart. Like, if we ever move out of Missouri, it will be moving to Cabo. There is not a question about that. So anyways, it's wonderful, and it just gives us such wonderful memories. And that's why we want our family to go, because we hold such an emotional tie to Cabo. It's not just the beaches are great or, the resort's awesome. Like, it is a significantly deeper level for both of us. So now that I've cried, let me tell you something we're looking forward to.
Yes.
EC is a guy that runs something called Cooking Cabo, and he picks you up from his restaurant and his bar, and you go into the markets and you actually buy the food from local vendors, buy the fruits, the vegetables, the booze, anything that you're going to need to cook an entire meal. And then he takes you to his house that he has an industrial kitchen, and there's tables set up, like tables, you're sitting there as a family. You cook the meal sitting at the table and or in the kitchen, and you're in his home. I mean, his kids walk through sometimes, his tiny little children. And this family has become part of our family, honestly. Izzy and his wife have become part of our family. We've taken them to our favorite restaurant, which is Panache or Panache. We've taken them on sunset cruises with us. They've taken us to the best sushi restaurant in all of Cabo. They've taken us there. There's no sign outside, so when you're walking up, you're like, is this where I die? And then they open the door and they're like, come in. There's yeah, exactly. And there's only 8 seats at the bar. That's all that you're getting in that restaurant. So anyways, they have become a part of every time we go there, no matter what. It doesn't matter what it is. We've gone. So a really cool thing was one time it was only me, my husband, and my assistant at the time, and her now husband. And so EC was like, well, what do you guys want to cook? And we were like, I don't know, seafood. So anyways, we went to a seafood place to get the food. It was so amazing. And then he cooked octopus. He cooked the most amazing octopus. And it was so cool, Jana. Pot of water, octopus. He's like, as you put it in the water,
Ew.
the tentacles will actually pull up. So you put it in the water and it pulls up. It wasn't still alive, I don't think. I think it was dead, but just the reaction.
If it's moving,
No. It was just the heat reaction of it. And then, so you do it, I think it was 4 or 5 times, and it slowly starts to turn a different color. And then you put it in the pot of water and you let it boil for like 45 minutes. It was the best octopus I've ever eaten.
Stop talking about it.
It was so amazing. But anyways, he only did that for us because it was just us 4, and it was in May, and there was nobody else for the class. And it just is so special to go down there and see him. And then we are hopefully going to see our friends that live in Lighthouse Point, which is outside of Cabo. It's, northeast of Cabo, pretty far, where they have actually a house on the beach. So we're thinking we're going to be able to watch the Chiefs game with them at their beach house, stay at their beach house, and then come back the next day. So those are the things. Just the people. I'm excited to see the people. We have friends down there. I mean, that just is what it is.
Have I ever shared with you that I am a vegetarian?
Okay, so pretend like it was seaweed.
Even then, seaweed. Gross, nasty, nope. So for me,
you don't even like seaweed?
No, I don't eat any fish, no chicken, no meat.
Seaweed is veggies.
I know, but I can't do it, but I'm gonna get to it. I do eat a little bit of a ground hamburger in my tacos, but it's very, very little, like light meat. Okay, that's it though. Nothing else.
So no bloody steaks, no mid-rare steaks?
No. Okay. No, and in fact, Bryant cannot order a bloody steak with me because I will actually throw up. Like I will throw up.
All right.
Throw up.
All right.
Like, but it's not a philosophical issue, and it's not because I don't like the taste or anything like that. I don't like chewing things. I want crunch or slurp. I cannot handle the chewing. Also, somewhat knowing that they used to be like living, breathing creatures just freaks me the fuck out. It just does. I don't like it. So you're talking about some exotic fucking octopus thing going in and the tentacles like...
Yeah. Is it bad that the whole cow that's in my freezer I named and I videoed and put him on Snapchat knowing I'm going to eat you soon? And you know what? He's as good as I wanted him to be.
What'd you name him, Moxie?
T-Bone. Hello.
So when you say things like, we're eating T-Bone tonight, it could mean...
I mean it.
Several things.
Yeah, for real. I mean it. And Bambi, she's out there too. Like,
Ew.
Sometimes you just want to eat deer. I love deer. It is one of my favorite proteins. That and duck are 2 of my favorite proteins.
No.
So I'm a meat eater. I'm a flavored meat eater. So if you shoot a deer correctly, it's not gamey. If you shoot a deer and it's not in the right spot and it runs off, it puts all that adrenaline in its body, and that's actually where it gets the gamey taste. If you shoot a deer and it drops or it runs a little bit, the adrenaline didn't actually get into its body. It is the most decadent. I love the flavor of deer. I absolutely love it. But some people think I'm crazy because I like duck and I like deer and I like lamb and I like all the weird stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm straight. You want to come over and have some lamb?
Absolutely not.
Okay. I'll make some for you.
I'll eat all the sides.
All right.
I like the sides. Whenever we go to restaurants that don't have like a Bryant Loves Blind Box barbecue, there's nothing there for me to eat, but maybe some cornbread.
I don't even know where that
and
is.
Some corn.
What is that?
Maybe. Blind Box barbecue. It's like one of those cool barbecue joints. It's kind of like an upscale Gates barbecue.
Where's it at?
If I'm being straight. There's one in Shawnee. There's several around town. They're really, really good. I mean, from what everybody says, they're really good.
It smells
but
pretty.
They don't have any food. And that's the other thing. I love the smell of barbecue and all of that, but I cannot eat it. I can't eat it.
To each their own, Jana. Just, save it for me. I'll happily eat it. I don't care.
I know Bryant gives me all of his salads and his sides, and I give him all the rest of it.
Nice. I like it.
Well, this is fantastic today.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
I cried. You made me cry.
I made you cry?
Yeah, it happens.
I made you cry.
It's your fault. Hello, gaslighting. Hello. This has been wonderful. I'm going to go pack my 2 bikinis into some suitcases and go to Cabo.
Love you. I hope you have a great time.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
We know you're probably potty watching or avoiding doing something domestic today, and we're glad you found us instead.
If you've got a crazy real estate story to share,
Burning questions you want the real tea spilt on,
or maybe you want to sponsor our little production, we want to hear from you. Shoot us an email so that we can collaborate. And until next time, guys,
we'll be a hot mess, and you keep doing you, boo-boo.
make it a great day.